Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the CricBlog Podcast, dropping on a Monday today. Charbel here, accompanied by my co-host Nash. I'm a very happy Australia fan today, and Nash a very hopeful and maybe hopefully happy India fan, see, depending on what happens tomorrow. How's things, mate? How you feeling about the
Yeah,
game?
look, I'm happy. I'm not hopefully happy, but I will say I'm happy the way India has approached this test match, and that's the first point on our agenda today is
Mm,
discussing this test match so far and this
funny test match.
venue in general. To be honest, let's start slowly. Let's start with the day.
Before I
I
go
think
in.
the way India approached this day, I think they've set a clear standard that they just want to win. They
Mm,
want to win this test match. They want to win going forward, and everyone turned up. To be honest, right from Rohit Sharma at the start, Jaiswal, in that opening slot, KL Rahul, Kohli, everyone played their part. Of course, there were a couple of, I wouldn't call it failures, but there were a couple of low scores from Rishabh Pant or Jadeja, but
it's going to
it
happen
comes
when
with
you,
the
you go
territory.
up, you go
Yeah,
after everything.
and the team management knew, the batters knew what they were doing, what the goal was, and that was made very clear.
Mm,
So it is good to see that. And I think we were chatting before recording that if India could manage at least, let's say, the 5-6 overs before the end of the day, and that'll
mm.
be great. The light is still good. I mean, the light is still good, even though the floodlights are on. The light is looks still good. Ashwin is bowling. Jadeja could come in from the other end, and I think even if India managed to get like two or three here before the end of the day, we are in for a cracker last day of the
Yep.
of the test match.
The thing is, though, which we'll talk about a bit, I think a lot of the floodlights aren't working at this ground. One of the
Yeah.
many issues. So it might
But
cut
the thing is, look,
short
look,
later.
the thing is, I get your point about the floodlights, but the thing is, with the test match being just a day test match and not a day night test match, as soon as the natural light fades and the artificial
Yeah,
light
yeah,
takes
still,
over,
I
it's
understand.
it's the game is done anyway. So
I
or the
get
day
that.
is done anyway. So it doesn't matter if the lights are working or not. I know I get your point, and we'll get into that later. But I get your point. But as
Could
long
still get some
as
play in, though, and get some
exactly.
overs from your spinners, though. You can.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think
It's for another
the
discussion, I suppose,
yeah,
about
exactly.
what
The
can be
sun is
done
still
about the light.
shining. It's
Yeah.
slowly the shadows are slowly falling onto the pitch now, but I think the brightness is still there, so it's
Yeah.
safe.
India were on track for maybe a little bit of a bigger lead, and that probably would have been more handy to have those little bit extra runs to play with. And because yeah, obviously the more Bangladesh get in their third innings, the less chance India have got of winning, and
Yep.
they have to go for it. India, you're right, they've gone for it, but they've had to, given the blow of potential loss of World Test Championship points if they don't get the win in this game. And then
Yep.
all of a sudden you've got to be very good against New Zealand and then good in Australia because Sri Lanka are thereabouts pushing for a World
Mm,
Test Championship final spot. We'll
yep.
talk about
Yep.
them a bit later. And I think South Africa is still a shot as well, looking at their fixtures remaining too. So, yeah, a lot to play for India. Um, Bangladesh can lose wickets in a heap. You know,
Yep.
we saw that in the first innings, and it could happen. They've got to do it early though tomorrow. India, if the forecast is good, I think it's all right from what I saw.
Yeah, it looks all right. It looks all right, and I think India will just come out all guns blazing tomorrow,
Yeah, they
and
will.
and
All out attack.
it'll be a big task for Ashwin and Bumrah to get the wickets. I'm not discrediting all the other bowlers, but I think a lot of the pressure falls on those two. And
Yep.
Jadeja, of course, given
Yep.
it's a fifth day, third day pitch, if you if you get what I mean. But
Yes, I understand.
um, and
Look, there's
yeah,
some
it'll be
deliveries that
really
have stayed
interesting.
low, and there's been a
Exactly.
few tricks. Some have read up
Yep.
as well. Akashdeep
Yeah,
is on now. I wouldn't discount him as having a big impact
that's
in this
correct.
innings. He
He's
bowls a
a
good
he's a
length.
skitty customer, and
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
could provide early breakthroughs here in his spell. I think
Yes.
that'll be really good for India.
What an impressive show by Yashasvi Jaiswal today. I mean, that guy in his short career so far tweeted today, he's got the potential to be a real all format superstar. He's the guy I look at. I think we've spoken
Yeah.
about this months ago as well, that he was the guy we earmarked as the guy that could be so good for India across formats because of his ability to play according to the situation. If he has to knuckle down in a test match, he's done that before. Um, and play a more patient innings. He's done that, but when he gets going, his strike rate is unbelievable.
Yep. I think he's from that mold where those youngsters that we have seen for the past few
Yeah.
years that we just have to go and try our best to win no matter the
Mm.
situation, and he completely gets what the team management or what the captain is asking him to
Yeah.
do. He's so far in his short career has always played for the
Yep.
team, and and you're right, he has the potential to be an all format star for India going forward.
Yes.
But what I believe is, given how he's gone in Test this year, I think Test will be his strongest format, and I think we have found a star at the top of the order. And the positive is he's also a left-hander, so that just
Mm.
adds that value to
Mm.
his resume.
I'm fascinated to see how he's going to go in Australia, but I'll back him. He's going to be tough nut to crack, I think, for the Aussie bowlers.
Yep.
Someone we've got to study really hard and try to get the better of him from an Australian perspective early in the
Yep.
series to try and knock his confidence a bit. That's going to be
I think what
key.
will work for India, especially in Australia, is if you remember the last couple of tours, the big talking point was the openers, and given there were
Yeah.
all the openers that I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but all the openers that India had in Australia were right-handers, and that made it a bit difficult to tackle someone like a Mitchell Stark.
Mm.
Um,
Trying to remember
and
those.
Gill,
Yeah.
Human Gill did a brilliant job in the last tour
Mm.
at the Gabba. But overall, if you look at the overall picture, and that's what Yashasvi Jaiswal will bring to the table is,
Mm.
that
Mm.
um, even he's a natural left-hander, he has this ability to tackle Mitchell Stark, who is a lefty as well. So that will add
Yes.
that much pressure back onto the Australian bowlers.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating battle. And you're right. There was a lot of right-handers. Prithvi Shaw, I think, started the last tour,
Yep.
and
There was
Rohit
Mayank
Sharma batting
Agarwal
there.
as well.
Yes, yes. Yep, yep. So, no, it'll be fascinating to see and see how this test match ends. Yeah, you're right. India probably need a wicket or two tonight, and then see what happens tomorrow. But for Bangladesh, see it out. They want to be losing in 2.5 days, not even 2.5 days.
Yep,
So we'll see what happens
absolutely.
there. But onto the ground, I mean, the fact that we lost so much play in this game shouldn't be happening in Test cricket. I spoke about this to you when Afghanistan, New Zealand happened at Greater Noida. There was days without rain, and we're still not getting on the field, and we're still not seeing any action. I think Test
Look,
cricket
I
can't
think
afford that now.
both there's a lot of discussions that we can have around this. Both I would say personally, both the situations are a bit different because the Noida Stadium is not sanctioned for Test match cricket, and that was offered. There were a few, like we spoke, there were a few options offered to Afghanistan, and they picked Noida
Yes.
because of the familiarity, and so I would say that's a different situation because it isn't sanctioned for Test cricket, so there's the facilities are not that great there. That's a given. So I could see that going wrong, but with Kanpur, with the stadium like Kanpur, and the facilities that they should get and they have, yeah, this is a poor show from them,
Mm.
especially given that the UP Cricket Association and the BCCI knew that there'll be a test match here in a few months' time. I think they should have sorted the issues with drainage and the ground staff and
Forget
getting
forget that.
getting
Add
as
to
much
that,
cricket as possible on the
one
stadium.
of the stands they couldn't sell it to capacity because they had
Yep.
engineers at the ground thinking if this is at capacity, it's going to crumble.
Yep.
It'll go
It
down.
was. Oh, I think that's a wicket for Ashwin. Sorry.
Ashwin, yeah,
Yep.
I reckon that's
That's the
plum.
first one.
Yeah, that's plum early.
That's
Yeah.
Plum. But sorry, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
and
see
you're
what I'm saying?
exactly
It's
right.
not fit. It's
You're
not fit for
exactly
Test
right.
cricket. And the thing
You're
is,
exactly right.
a ground to be fit for Test cricket. Number one thing's got to be the drainage. That yes, if
Yep.
there's a lot of rain, you can still get some play when there's no rain. The fact that
Yep.
there's
And
it's sunshine and they're not able to get out on the field is just such a waste. Not good
yep.
enough. Not good
The
enough.
thing is there have been a lot of discussions in the past couple of days going on around India and how it chooses the venues for Test match cricket. And I get
Mm.
it where in other countries, for example, England or Australia is the best example, or even South Africa. They know, like they have these fixed 5 or 6
Yes.
test venues. But the thing is, in those countries, that's it. There's only those 5 and 6 cities that really have that. Especially in Australia, if you look at Australia, there's literally 5, 6 cities that
Major
really
cities.
have major cities. That's it. Australia
I
has 5
understand.
capital cities, and then if Hobart doesn't get a test match, or someone like Canberra or Darwin don't get a test match, and that's the thing. Whereas in India, and I'm still torn on this topic, whether India should have like 5, 6 fixed venues, and then there can be a rotation of other venues given how many test matches there are.
Yeah.
But the thing is, then there's one conversation that we have is to bring more public and more engagement into test match cricket, and then we have this another conversation about limiting test match cricket to only a few cities every year. So, for example, a
Yes.
kid in Kanpur or a kid in Lucknow might not even get to see
Yep.
a test match for
No,
like
that's fair.
5 years.
That's fair.
And that's where I'm torn. I love the idea of India having like only one Wankhede or Eden Gardens in Chennai and Bangalore as the
Yes.
test match, or even possibly Dharamshala in the north. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that restricts new fans actually going to the stadium and watching a test match. Not everyone has the means to travel to new other cities and watch a
No,
test
you're right.
match. So
That's fair.
this is what I think India has found a good balance, that we spread the test match across the nation so everyone gets a chance to watch the test match. And as we say, test is the peak of cricket. So that's my opinion on why India doesn't have that 5, 6 test centers.
Which is
But
fine.
then the flip side is, I get your point. The flip side is all the test facilities should be up to standard, given the
Yep.
money
No
and given the
question.
resources. And
No question
that's
about it.
where the Kanpur ground has failed this year.
It's failed big time. The sun's out, there's no rain, and they've got no chance of coming on, and they're calling the day off early. Everyone
Yep.
loses,
Yep.
Everyone
Yep.
loses. And yeah,
Yep.
particularly we talk about we want to protect test cricket and champion it. Got to move on with the times. Got to have the good drainage in place to ensure that get the play and the grounds up to standard. Because I agree with you. You want the kids and you want people across the country to be engaged, but the BCCI and those in power have to believe the same thing. It's all well and good at scheduling a test match in their city, but if the ground's not up to scratch and they're not seeing cricket and they're not seeing enough
That's
cricket, what's
true.
the point?
That's right. That's
So,
correct.
yeah, very disappointing, but could still be a result, but it shouldn't have got to this. Should not have got to
Yep.
this in the first
Yep.
place. Australia have won a series. They won in England. I don't know how.
Every
Injuries.
time, my question is,
Injuries.
every time England plays, there's
Uh,
a spirit of cricket
oh,
conversation. I
here we
think
go.
maybe the problem is England.
Mm,
How is it that every time England plays, there is a conversation around spirit of cricket, and then
yes.
always the one of the culprit is the same, is exactly the same.
How incredible! How incredible! The professors and the experts in the spirit of cricket. I'm watching it, whatever time it was last night. Oh no, just after a drinks break, the shoe doesn't fit. Oh, I've got to take my sock off,
Yeah.
check my tape. Oh no, with the rain about to come. And the spirit of cricket. What's that about? Tell me, is that within the spirit of cricket?
What I want to say,
Ian Ward didn't
that
have a
is
problem with it on commentary. Ian Ward had no
Yeah,
problem with it
exactly.
on commentary, but if it's an Australian player who does it,
Uh,
I bet you anything
yeah,
they'll be all
I
over
know,
it.
and that's the double standards. That's the English classic double standards that we
Mate,
talk about, isn't it?
sick of them.
Because I did not see any comments on social media about that. There's absolutely nothing. All those
Nah, mate, no.
know,
The shoe.
who
Someone
pretend to
replied to
be
me. Someone replied to me. The shoe it didn't fit, mate. Just got his shoe replaced. It was genuine.
Ah.
Yeah. No worries, mate.
Yeah, of course. It's all the great, the British people are always genuine.
That's what I'm talking about. The spirit of cricket, I've said it before, it's nothing but a card that England pull out of their pocket whenever something goes against them.
Yep.
Instead of thinking, they take 2 wickets at that point, whatever, there's 10 balls to go until the 20 over cutoff point. You take 2 wickets at that point, England may very well get ahead of the past score at that point. Think about the 2 wickets. They're wasting time.
It isn't like England to be crybabies, is it though?
Mate, unbelievable. You harp on about spirit of cricket and you waste time like that to try get a result because of rain. Rain's coming. Is that in the spirit of cricket? Well, I'll let the England fans decide on that. But
Well,
you know,
I'll say though, talking about cricket, a great result from Australia's point of view,
yeah, man,
and I want to talk about Travis Head particularly because he won the Player of the Series and he's had
deservedly
a brilliant he has had a brilliant, let's say, last 12 months in cricket.
longer.
Last lot longer, but I'm sticking to 12 months because of
Okay.
the World Cup as well. But
Yep.
where do you think where do you think Australia go from here? Because we have talked about uh, Travis Head potentially being a captaincy candidate as well. Given how
Hmm.
Mitchell Marsh's form has gone,
Yeah.
where do you think Australia? How do you think Australia managed Travis Head, and
Yep.
how do you think Australia go from here? Australian management goes from here managing Travis Head in the future if there's captaincy on the line.
Good question because yeah, all formats. Look, I think he'll play the one days against Pakistan coming up. Don't know if they'll burden him with the captaincy, to be honest with you, because they gave it to Steve Smith as the next option when Marsh was out
I mean,
yesterday.
I mean they burdened Pat Cummins with captaincy, so
Yeah, you're right. And it's worked out well.
it has.
Um, yeah, they could do it. They could do it. He's definitely a candidate. I don't know if they'll give it to him now, heading to Pakistan Series and Champions Trophy. That's
Yep.
the thing.
Yep.
My answer to the question is I don't know what exactly Australia get out of this tour. Yes, we won, but we had so many injuries. We don't know what our best attack is in ODI cricket right now because there
Yep.
was a lot of guys that weren't there. Ellis and Spencer Johnson and who else was out injured? Someone else picked up an injury, like Jai Richardson and Lance Morris are
Yep.
only just coming back, and then you got Travis Head there, and then do you want to drop Marsh altogether? That's the thing. I don't know if Australia will do that. And then what's the makeup of your batting lineup? Is it Inglis or Carey? That's another big debate. There's so many
Mm,
things I think that even though we've won the series, there's not a lot of questions that have been answered yet. And
yep. But look, to be honest, there's Australia has done a great job drop to catch.
yep, drop
That's a
catch, K
that's
Rahul, third slip.
sure.
Oh, his fielding
Look,
today has been
yeah, it's been
absolutely terrible,
horrendous.
by the way.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
yeah. It was just laughable. But anyway, coming
Oh,
back to
boy.
Australia, my question to you is, uh, yeah, specifically in yesterday's ODI, Australia did a great job of pulling England back. You know,
Oh, I
England was
couldn't
like
believe it.
202 for 202 in like 25 overs, and
Looking at 400.
especially the spinners, spinners have done a absolutely brilliant job. So, um, especially in a country like England. So it's been. What do you think this does for the Australian bowling sort of the department? Because they've shown that they have good sort of backup bowlers as well in this
Yeah.
series.
No, it's good. We have a lot of all rounders. Like we've got a lot of all rounders to turn to. And Travis Head showing that he can deliver with his spin. But we need our specialist bowlers there as well. We had two specialist fast bowlers, Hazelwood and Stark, Zampa there as well, and then a whole host of all rounders, and we found it a bit
Mm.
difficult. But credit to the team for fighting back the way they did. I thought England were going to get 400 plus with Livingston still to come. Yeah, I thought they were going to absolutely hammer another big score. But the way they
Yep.
brought it back, and then the way Australia batted, Matt Short was really good. Smith, I thought looked quite assured after the early stages. Travis Head provided a good start, and then Josh Inglis looked good himself as well. But I think now the big thing for me is the fitness of Cam Green. What
Yep.
happens with his back injury? It's just been it's been an unbelievable tour, and now Hassan has done a Shannon Gabriel here.
Yep.
You've
That's a
just seen
technique.
that. He's gone
That's
for an
lovely.
almighty slog with stumps not far away and has given India another
I
wicket. Can you
mean,
believe it?
yeah. I
Oh
don't
man,
when an elite athlete at the top level does stuff like this, it just I don't get it.
look at this shot. Oh,
But yeah.
that's
Anyway.
that's that's meme material. Um
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, onto Australia. I am worried about Cam Green, but does that make the situation easier for Australia when you just bring in a specialist open for the Border Gavaskar Trophy? Possibly, but you lose a very, very good player. So fingers
Yeah.
crossed. Yeah, it's just been one of those tours where so many flus and illnesses and a lot of injuries
Mm.
as well. It's been crazy.
Well, before we move on, just quick couple of sentences on some of the newcomers in this Australian team, especially Matthew Short and
Mm,
Cooper Connolly.
mm.
What do you make of them?
Matt
And
Short
Aaron
showed,
Hardy and
yeah,
Aaron Hardy.
Hardy. They all showed some good signs. I thought Cooper Connolly was limited in his opportunities. Not easy to come in and bowl on debut, very cold conditions, and
Mm.
the opposition is going crazy. But we'll see more of him in the future. Matt Short showed some good signs, but never got the big score until, the significant score until the last game, I felt, but the talent is there. What he needs to improve on is the front foot play and also how he plays against spin. They're the two big things because he can be a very good player for Australia across formats and across the white ball formats if he can play well against spin. And I thought Aaron Hardy was good. Well, Aaron Hardy down the order with the bat, I thought was very impressive. I think it was
Yep.
the third game.
Mm.
He hit a very good 40 odd off 25 or so balls to get Australia over 300. So, and he took some wickets as well with the ball. So, yeah, a lot to like there. I think Australia got talent coming in, and I've said this a few times in the recent past where the likes of Mitch Marsh have to step up because there's guys coming through vying for spots.
Yep.
So there's some decisions for Australia to make ahead of that Champions Trophy next year. I think we've only got the three ODIs against Pakistan because then we've got the Border Gavaskar Trophy and then away tours to Sri Lanka for Test cricket. So a few
Well,
things
Test
to iron
cricket,
out.
Sri Lanka. You've mentioned the
Mm,
topic. That's a nice
yep.
segue into our next agenda, which
Bloody hell, that's going
is
to be a tough series for us next year, the way they're playing there.
exactly. This is I just read a stat. This has been the best Test year for Sri Lanka
Mm,
since 2006.
mm.
So that says something about their current makeup, and especially with Chandimal back in form, with Matthews doing what he does, what he has always done, and the newcomer coming to Mendes. He's 1,000 runs in 13 innings. What a brilliant batter!
Ridiculous stuff. Crazy. Um, it just felt like New Zealand, they found his edge a couple of times in the first 5, 10 balls he faced, and they had the white slip in. The first time it went through that region, went low, it wouldn't have carried. And then the second one went through, it would have been the perfect height for a first slip. They got it wrong and he made him pay.
Yeah,
He's on fire. Can't believe he just keeps churning them out. Did very well in England as well. So you say, oh, he's only done it in Asia. It's not true. He played very well in England as well. At number 7, he hit 100 there. He averaged over 50 in that series. How he goes in South Africa is going to be fascinating, but there's such a good player there. And there's a lot to like about Sri Lanka, especially at home. They've had a very good few months. They won that ODI series against India. They won a test match in England. And
mm,
now the 2-0 over New Zealand. And they wiped the floor with the Black Caps in this game. I couldn't
yeah,
believe what I was watching.
yeah. Especially in the first innings, I mean, Jayasuriya got the six for, and
Oh,
he
man,
just they just
they were
ran
looking
through the
at,
New Zealand batting.
staring down the barrel New Zealand of their biggest ever test defeat in history. It's a record that's over 20 years now. The innings in 322 runs or 24 runs against Pakistan. 2002, I think it was.
Yep.
They were staring down the barrel of it. They batted better in the second innings, but the damage was done. And New Zealand, they can't get out of this slump that they're in. They're doing it tough at the moment, New Zealand. There's a lot of players that have gone downhill at the same
Yep.
time.
And tell you what, the next few months are looking bleak as well, given it's India.
India,
Um,
I don't have much hope for them there. And that's the case for pretty much every team, to be honest. But particularly for New Zealand, who are doing it tough. Yeah, just that batting in the first innings, it just looked like they didn't know whether to attack or defend, or there was a lot of very weird shots in that first innings. They looked all at
yep.
sea. Yeah. Man, they need a big, big turnaround. I don't know where they go to from here, whether there's some plays in that 11 that they look to replace, but still, when I look at that 11, it's still a pretty good one. It's still
Yeah,
a
it
pretty good
is. It
side on
is.
paper. Like
Yep. I
there's a
mean,
lot of players there that are
you got experiences of Latham and Williamson and Conway and the newcomer youngster Ravindran.
Ravindra, there's Daryl
It's a
Mitchell
very
there,
good
and
side.
it's still a good side on paper, but they're just out of form, and I don't know if it's declining or out of form all at the same time. Um, and they've got some good spin options, but the problem with their
Yep.
spinners, particularly Ajaz Patel, I know he's got a pretty good record in Asia, but the problem is, I think for a finger spinner, he bowls too many loose deliveries. I think that's probably an area he's got to work on if he wants to get things right in India. Is you've got to be more consistent, because they give a lot of easy runs away. You can't
Yep.
afford to do that against good batting sides in their own conditions. But yeah, and another big thing for New Zealand, they've got to figure out as well what they do with Tim Southee, because he's struggling over the last few
Yep.
years for his
He
best
is.
form. I think since our start of last year, he's averaging probably about 40 with the ball, near there. Not the same impact that he once had, and he's the captain.
Yep.
So these are some tough calls that New
Absolutely.
Zealand might have to make. But credit to Sri
Absolutely.
Lanka, thrilled for them.
They've played superbly well at home this year, and yeah, I think big things are on their radar in the coming next year because, as you said earlier, I think they're at number 3 in the World Test
They are number
Championship
3,
table as well. So if
55%.
if India don't manage to win this, Sri Lanka could be looking at a spot in the final as well,
So what
in
have
the
Sri
top
Lanka got
2 at
left?
least.
They've got South Africa away,
Yep.
and then they've got Australia at home. 4 test matches in total, if I'm not wrong.
Yep.
Now, South Africa away is tough. That's going to be very difficult for Sri Lanka, how their batters adjust to those
But
conditions.
even if they manage to snag a win
If
there
they
and
can, that would
or
be
a
huge.
draw,
If they
um,
can get a good result there, I back them. I think they'll win a
yep,
test match against Australia because we don't have a good
absolutely,
record there, and the pitches will spin, and
absolutely.
we know what happens when the pitch starts spinning when Australia are playing. We've seen it all too often.
Yep,
Sri Lanka beat us comfortably the last test match we played over there,
yep.
in 2022.
Well, lots to look
Uh,
forward to. And next time we'll be recording, we'll have the Women's T20 World Cup going on as
yes.
well, which is starting
Yeah.
on 3rd of October this Thursday. And as we are recording, India are 26 for 2, and I think that's the
That
end of the
stumps.
day
Yep.
after 11 overs, which has been really good for India. And if India could manage, before we go, if India could manage to get Bangladesh out for like within the next, let's say, I'm being ambitious, but in the first hour or so, let's say in the first
8
20
wickets in an
25
hour.
overs, in the
Jeez.
first 20 25 overs at least, I
Ooh.
was going not an hour, but let's say an hour and a half, or even in the first session. Let's go first session.
Say you knock them
Um,
off in 40 overs. What, you still got about 40 overs to get a score, to get
but
whatever the target?
that depends how many runs they get. They could still just
I don't think
come
they'll get
out
a
and
whole lot, to be fair, if they're
yeah,
knocked off in
yeah,
40 overs. What are Bangladesh going to get?
yeah,
If they're bowled out another 40 overs from now, I don't think they're getting 150, to be honest,
yeah.
against this
That's
attack.
right.
And
All
then,
right.
yeah,
Lots to look forward to. Lots to look forward to. Lots of cricket to talk. And yeah, we India have done really well on this 4th day of the Test match.
absolutely. Pretty much perfect for them. And they know they've got to win this game because they've got, of course, the Australia series and Sri Lanka are thereabouts. And I touched on South Africa, who
Mm,
lost to Ireland, by the way. Great win for Ireland. But South Africa are a chance. They've got, I think, West Indies at home, Sri Lanka at home, Bangladesh
yep,
away. So they can make the final as well. So very important for India. Thanks, Nash, and thanks to all the
thank you.
listeners. You can catch us on CricBlog TV on YouTube, where we post all our full episodes. We post YouTube shorts. We post on CricBlog Pod on X and Instagram, some reels from this episode. So do subscribe, and do let us know if you'd like to see some particular topics spoken about as well. We look forward to seeing you guys
Absolutely.
very soon.